How long should you train before you start competing in MMA? With Jiu-Jitsu, I don't think it's a big deal to go out there and compete right away. Guys that are, really guys or girls who are really wanting to compete, to try to get that feeling and stuff like that. I think going out there in Jiu-Jitsu, you can go out there and compete right away, because the worst thing that happens is you get tapped. And that's not so bad. With MMA, you've got really, really little gloves, and the risk of, concussions, etc., is real. I mean, and guys, it's like, without the proper training, you're going to go out there and lose. The other thing is that with MMA, wins and losses are so much more important, for the future. So it's like if you're an aspiring UFC fighter, and your eventual goal is to fight in the UFC, you need to win. So losses, even at the amateur level, are bad. So it's like going out there and losing just to try to get experience. Go do jiu-jitsu tournaments, to get that experience so that you can, learn how to compete, everything like that. But save fighting for after you've developed skills. And the whole thing is there's lots of tough guys in this world. But now being a tough guy with actual real skills, that's a whole other thing. And it takes time to develop those skills. And this is no insult to anybody who is the tough guy that lacks skills. It's just, this is, if somebody came to me and said, hey, I want to play for the Dallas Cowboys, I'm 32 years old and I'd like to be their starting quarterback. That's not possible. You don't have, unless if you've never played football before, you're not going to go out there and start for the Dallas Cowboys. It's the same thing with the UFC. The UFC is no different in that you can, if without those proper skills started at a younger age, you're not going to end up getting there. It's like, no, that doesn't mean you can't fight. You can, become a fighter and things like that. But it's like if you're 20 years old and you come to me, now we can talk. I can, but we have to follow a plan. And that plan involves you training a lot before you start to fight, and it's like, depending on your goals and everything like that, it's going to be years before you're going to get in the cage and start to fight. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but the reality is if you want to be successful, you're going to need to do that. Now, okay, if you come to me with, I'm a 3-time national champion wrestler, and I want to fight, we can put you in the ring a lot faster because you've got that experience. You've got the takedowns. You can dictate where the fight takes place. Now we just got to brush up on jiu-jitsu defense, give you some stand-up, teach you when to shoot, when not to shoot. But you have the foundation that it takes to become an MMA champion, and you can fight a lot sooner. But it's like to develop all those skills takes time, and people should respect the sport of jiu-jitsu and go through and respect the sport of MMA, by training in all those different facets of the game and learning to become, learn to develop the skills and appreciate that this is, these aren't just tough guys anymore squaring off in the ring. They are tough guys with real skills. They've learned jiu-jitsu, they've learned wrestling, they've learned stand-up. And just because I'm a world champion in one doesn't mean I'm going to be a world champion in MMA. And just because I wasn't ever a world champion in, let's say that I was a wrestler and I was a really, really good wrestler, Matt Hughes, but Matt Hughes never won a Division I championship. He was a really good wrestler, but this guy was one of the most dominant UFC champions, ever. And a lot of that came from his wrestling and the fact that he was a very, very tough guy. So there's lots of different ways to look at this, but the big thing is when you start training and if you aspire to, fight, I think that a guy should be prepared to put the time in, so that you can go in there and actually win. And I think that's the moral of the story.